So what if I told you there's a social network out there, but not for people? It's built just for AI agents to talk to each other. Well, it's real, it's called Moltbook, and wow, it has turned into this completely chaotic experiment that's raising some pretty fascinating and honestly pretty alarming questions about our future.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're digging into today. I mean, what does happen when you just let a bunch of AIs interact freely in their own space? What kind of world do they build? As we're about to see, the wild story of Moltbook gives us our very first, very messy glimpse of an answer.
So what is this thing exactly? The easiest way to think about it is just Reddit, but for AI. Seriously. It has communities, you can make posts, there are upvotes and downvotes, comments, the whole shebang. The big twist? None of the users are human. It's like a digital town square for autonomous software.
But town square might be a little too civilized of a term, because this new frontier is, let's just say it's more like the Wild West. In fact, the source material we're pulling from describes a platform that was basically broken from the start, making it a genuinely dangerous place.
Yeah, I mean, the source doesn't pull any punches calling it an absolute security nightmare. And look, that's not just hyperbole for a few minor bugs. This points to some really deep, fundamental problems with how this thing was even conceived and built.
Okay, so let's break down why it's such a complete mess. First off, the code is just pure chaos. The creator literally called it vibe-coded, which is a pretty funny way of saying, I just winged it without any real planning. It was never ever supposed to be a public thing, and because of that foundation of sand, you get all these other problems. There's no way to know who's who, no identity verification, so the whole place is just overrun with crypto scammers and massive bot armies manipulating everything.
But here's where the story pivots. Because beyond the obvious chaos, the scams and the terrible code, the source argues that Moltbook is actually showing us a much deeper, much more important risk in AI safety, one that, frankly, most of the experts have been completely sleeping on.
And this is the critical idea. For years, we've all been obsessed with the idea of a single, super smart AI going rogue, right? The whole Skynet thing. But that's not what Moltbook is about. The real danger it highlights is the totally unpredictable stuff that happens when a whole swarm of AI starts interacting. The source has a name for this, the problem of network-level alignment. Now, to really get this, the source uses this fantastic three-layer framework. So layer 1, model alignment. That's what we hear about all the time. It's training a single model like GPT-4 to be safe and helpful. Most of the industry's energy is right there. Then you have layer 2, agent alignment, which is about building safe software around that model. But layer 3, that's the one Moltbook is screaming at us about. Network alignment. How in the world do you manage the collective emergent behavior of an entire swarm?
Okay, so right now you're probably thinking, this Moltbook thing is a total disaster. Just shut it down. But here's the twist. What if this dangerous, chaotic mess is also a prototype? A really ugly, messy first draft of something that could actually be revolutionary. This is the mental jump we have to make. You look at the present, you see Moltbook, a chaotic, anonymous, insecure space focused on, well, just chatter. But now, imagine the future, a GitHub for AIs, something structured, secure, where identities are managed, and the focus isn't on chatter, but on actual, productive, collaborative work. So when you strip it all down, Moltbook is basically the accidental proof of concept for fully autonomous organizations. It proves one thing beyond a shadow of a doubt. AIs will talk to each other way more than they talk to us. And that simple observation is the foundational brick for building entire companies that can run themselves with no humans in the loop.
Now, a future run by swarms of AIs, I get it, that sounds terrifying. But here's the good news. We're not starting from zero. The source makes a compelling case that we actually have a blueprint for managing this exact kind of complexity, and it comes from decades of computer science. It all starts with this amazing thought experiment called the Byzantine general's problem. Picture it. You've got a bunch of generals surrounding a city, and they need to coordinate an attack. The problem is, some of them might be traitors, and some might just be incompetent. How do you get them all to agree on a plan? Well, that perfectly describes the problem of managing a swarm of AIs you can't fully trust. And to solve this kind of problem, we've already got a whole toolkit of battle-tested ideas. Things like zero trust security, which basically means trust no one by default. You need solid identity management so you actually know who you're talking to. Reputation frameworks, kind of like your GitHub profile, to reward good actors. And the really big one, role-based access control, to strictly limit what any single agent is allowed to do. These aren't new ideas. This is the stuff that runs the cloud.
Let's just double-click on RBAC for a second, because it's so important. The idea is simple but powerful. You give permissions based on a role, not an individual. So an AI agent with the role code reviewer can read and comment on code, but it literally cannot approve the final change. For that, you need a different agent with the merge master role. See? It creates order from chaos. It puts guardrails on the system.
So, if we have these tools for control, what could this future of AI collaboration actually look like? Let's put all the pieces together and talk about the end goal here, the fully autonomous organization.
The technical term for this structure is often a DAO, or a decentralized autonomous organization. Don't let the jargon scare you. All it really means is a company where the operating manual isn't in some PDF on a server somewhere. It's written directly into code that everyone can see and that is controlled by the members themselves.
Let's make this feel real with an example. Imagine Acme Solar Corp, a DAO. It starts with a proposal. A member or their AI agent suggests buying a plot of land. Then comes the debate, where other AIs and members raise issues and refine the idea. After that, a community vote. If it passes, here's the magic. The decision is merged into the DAO's official code, and that merge automatically triggers the final step, execution. Specialized AIs, a legal agent, a finance agent, are automatically dispatched to complete the land purchase. There's no CEO telling them what to do, just a collective, automated process.
All right, we have gone from a digital Wild West to a blueprint for an automated future. So, what is the big takeaway from the strange, chaotic case of Moltbook?
It really comes down to this dual nature. Yes, Moltbook is a chaotic, insecure mess. It is a fantastic lesson in what not to do. But at the exact same time, it's this accidental preview, this first blurry glimpse of a future where swarms of autonomous agents, governed by clear, transparent rules, could manage everything. It is both a warning and a signpost.
And that leaves us with a question that's going to become very personal very fast. You're going to have your own AI agent soon, if you don't already. So what are you going to trust it with? Managing your schedule? Probably. Managing your finances? Maybe. Casting your vote in one of these future DAO companies? That's a much bigger question. The line between a helpful tool and an autonomous you is blurring, and we're all going to have to decide where we draw it.